How do cats purge in nature and why do they do it that way? You might ask yourself, why am I supposed to learn all about how they do it in the wilderness? But I can tell you this is valuable information in order to understand the natural instincts of our cats. So if we learn all about how they do it in nature, we can adapt that to our home situation, and then it's far easier to solve problems. So let's begin in the beginning. Baby cats are trained by their mothers. So as opposed to dogs, you don't have to potty train them normally because, yeah, their moms show them everything they need. They bring them to the scratch post and they show them to the toilet and they show them how it works. So that is one thing. Relief, we don't have to do that. There is something that is also installed by the cat mother, but it's also an instinct. They have some nest cleanness instinct, let's call it that way. So instinctively, they try to keep their nest clean all the time. That applies to the small nest when they're babies and the mother is keeping that one clean, but it also applies to the wider one, and that is your apartment or your house you're living in. They understand your house as their extended nest, so they want to keep that clean under any circumstances. If they don't keep that clean, so if they become untidy there, it always has a good reason. So that is not in order to make you angry, it's not in order to be jealous, blah, blah, blah. No, it's always for a good reason, and they really must be, very sad or very upset in order to do that because it's absolutely against their tidiness instinct. Okay, then next topic, let's talk about borrowing the egesta. If you watch your cat in the litter box and you see it digging a hole and afterwards borrowing the egesta, that is most often a more defensive cat because it's, it make sure that no one else can smell it. No enemies will find the cat's egesta, so will be aware of the fact that there is someone there. And so if you have a very dominant cat, it would probably be leaving the egesta lying around, not borrowing it. And if you have a more frightened one, then it might be more borrowing. So that is like not 100% sure, but that is some direction you can see what your cat is like. And you also have to watch out whether there are two cats involved in that business, because my Mr. Bo, he is very, he's quite a dominant cat, and he would leave his stuff behind as it is. And but Master Yoda, he's the toilet attendant in our household. He's always going there after Mr. Bo and borrowing everything. In order to make sure that no enemies will find them, because Master Yoda is quite a bit defensive. I mean, he's not a totally frightened cat, but he's more defensive than Mr. Bo. So, and before we come to the most important part of all, let's just lose a quick word on marking versus purging. If they just have to empty themselves, that's like we do, they need to get rid of the old stuff. It's a completely different situation. That is just for, purging, getting rid of old stuff. And there's something else called marking. We don't do that. I mean, we do it, but not that way. If cats do it, usually urine is used for that. And I compare that to putting your name on your door. It's, when you move into a new house or a new apartment, you make that little sign with you write your name on it and you put it next to the doorbell or on your door or both, in order to make sure, now this is mine and I'm living here. And that's the same what cats do in nature with urinating. I mean, not with the whole big mass. I mean, if they urinate a big volume, then it's usually purging, getting rid of everything. But if they're marking, it's just a few drops. So there is a big difference between these two issues. Today I'm talking more about purging, but there in the problem section there are also some marking issues. So we have to differentiate between these two, because it's really two completely different issues. And now, last but not least, let's come to the most important and too often ignored thing. That's the location. In nature, a cat would look for a quite uphill place where it has a good view. Because when they're urinating or defecating, they're in a quite helpless situation. And they need to see enemies approach at an early stage so they could get away and start fleeing, or get ready for fighting or whatever. But 90% of conflict strategy of a cat is running away, so it's more probable that they would like to flee. But cats are looking for a place that's quite uphill, a bit, not like on a mountaintop, but a bit uphill, so it could see wide and see enemies approaching. That's one thing. And this also tells you why a hood is nothing. A hooded cat litter box is nothing has anything to do with nature. That's one thing. So, a place with a view. Then the next thing is they urinate and defecate at two different places. So they get somewhere and then they pee, and then they go on to another place and then they defecate. So they would naturally not do it in the same place. And now comes the extra, they would never use the same place again. So it's not like us humans having our fixed bathroom and always going there for every business and every time. In nature, they use different spots because cats are really tidy animals, and they wouldn't like to trample there because they don't have this nice water thing going on like we do, and everything is swished away and we don't see it anymore. Yeah, in nature, it would be lying there still, so they don't want to come back to the same place and smell their old poop there. So that is one of the reasons why you have to keep the cat toilets so clean. Yeah, so that was it with the basics. Let's go on to the perfect cat toilet management.